Welcome everyone to the MaintainX Masterclass series. We have a pretty great customer story to go through today. We'll be speaking with Mauro Francisco from DNP and Graham Immerman from MachineMetrics about how Mauro led his operations and maintenance improvements in his facility. So before we do get into it, a couple of housekeeping items. The call is being recorded and will be sent to you post-call. We encourage you to ask questions. There will be a Q&A panel here on the screen that we encourage you to put your questions in, and we will do everything we can to answer them here at the end of the call. We also have a comment section, so feel free to engage others as we go through today's discussion. All right, so the agenda. So today's agenda is really to walk through this journey that Mauro and DNP went on. We're going to talk through some of his pain points, moving into what the solution was for him and his team. We're going to review these results, and like I said, we're going to wrap up again with some Q&A. So I'll start by introducing myself. Hello, everyone. Thank you again for joining. I'm Kyle Beers. I'm a solutions consultant here at MaintainX. Been here for about a year and a half, and I've spent actually most of my career focused on maintenance and reliability, the best practices, if you will, in the manufacturing space. I'd say at MaintainX, I help manufacturers take that one step further through the use of connecting OT machine data to practical workflows, so we can have teams make better maintenance decisions, respond faster, and really drive some measurable improvements in uptime and reliability. And with that, I am joined by Graham Immerman. So if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, Graham.
Yes, I'd be grateful. Thanks, Kyle. My name is Graham Immerman. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer here at MachineMetrics, where I oversee sales, marketing, customer operations. Coming up on my decade anniversary here, which seems crazy. So I've been here for about 10 years. Helped just a small group of engineers bring a product to market. I was their first non-engineering hire. Here we are, a decade later. MachineMetrics is on every continent across the globe, except Antarctica, of course. And we're really looking forward to just sharing what we know with you all, and as well as our mutual customer who's experienced great benefit between our two software systems. So also great thanks to the people from MaintainX for inviting me.
Yeah, thanks, Graham. And before we get into Mauro's introduction, I would just like to kind of set the stage here a little bit. Just with a quick overview of MaintainX, MachineMetrics, and really how they work together, right? I would say at a high level, MachineMetrics is really the brain for what's happening on the production floor, what's happening with your machines. And the way I look at MaintainX is really that system of record of asset management, that platform around maintaining and responding to this data. So when you do connect them, MachineMetrics is going to continuously collect that machine data, flag downtime or abnormal conditions, and MaintainX is going to automatically create these maintenance work orders from those signals with these defined rules that's going to have your asset, event details, and key context already attached. So this means operators are not filling out papers, supervisors are not rebuilding the story at the end of the shift, and maintenance is not guessing what happens. And to kind of take that one step further, in practice, what does this look like? So MaintainX is turning those signals into structured workflows, the right work orders, checklists, follow-ups, all tied back to the same machine and event. Operations, right? They're going to be moving out of the paper and end of shift roll-ups, and we're going to be moving into live visibility, real-time dashboards, alerts, single source of truth across the floor. And again, what's this mean? Maintenance makes better decisions, faster decisions, really, because they know which asset needs attention, and they have a clean history of every response. And then at the top level, right, we want leadership to see the story from machine performance to the maintenance actions, really how improving connectivity and MES data via MachineMetrics is actually reducing unplanned downtime, improving reliability through the work that's happening inside MaintainX. So, Graham, I'd love if you could add a little bit more context to that, and then we'll get into the story here.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, listen, like our customers, right? Everyone does maintenance today, right? But it's either done, too much, not enough, or how do you know when you're doing maintenance at the right time, right? In your car, you drive a certain amount of miles, right? We know when it's time to do that, but it's using a calendar doesn't necessarily provide the optimal solution, right? And so the answer, real-time data, right? If we can use data, machine alarms, usage meters, right? Even operator trigger, right? To influence when it's time to do maintenance, we can do maintenance at the right time, right? Reducing downtime, but also making our teams more efficient. What's beautiful about the integration between MachineMetrics and MaintainX is it's really freaking easy. No custom code needed, right? You don't have to, whip out your developer portal. It's a simple setup. We've got dozens of customers that do it today, probably more, and they're seeing great results between the two solutions. So I would say, powered by the cloud, right? We've made this easy, efficient, quick to adopt, and powerful. And so I think it's a great stepping stone to transforming maintenance from reactive or simply calendar based to using real time data to drive and improve that system. So that's my spiel.
Awesome. Let's keep things moving. Mauro, would you like to introduce yourself?
First, thank you for inviting me for this webinar. It will be a great to share, my experience with both systems. I am Mauro, 15 years in manufacturing. I worked in automotive and architecture glass plus thermal media products. I have background on process optimization, data driving, and like improvements with KPIs, yield, flow rate, and uptime. Plus, I developed some small systems for quality audits and another like dashboards using Python, VBA, and another tools. Also implement some big projects like that, MachineMetrics that with DNP. I lead with the team this project, and I believe is it like a lot of experience with manufacturing, with operators and team leaders, supervisors, and everybody that's like as a part of the plant,
That's awesome. Mauro, obviously you're the star of the show here today. So thanks for being here. And maybe you could just tell us a bit about DNP, the business that you work for and help transform.
All right, DNP is a company that is a part of a manufacturing, global manufacturing networking, and we are leader in printing solutions. We are the world largest manufacturing in products category, and these are some products that we do here. Is a dye sublimation media for photo printers and dye sublimation media for ID cards, plus thermal transfer ribbons like barcodes. Here you can see some pictures of the product that we do. Here you see the machine, like one of the machines that we have a bunch of these machines here is the one that we get a jumbo roll and then we slitting in small rolls, like the picture that you are seeing here. And these will go to the thermal printers, and we'll sell like for some customers like Walgreens and many other customers.
Fantastic. Awesome. So we're going to step in the time machine for a minute here, Mauro, and take us back in time, right? Obviously there's these moments, where maybe we reach that point where it's like, all right, we got to make a change. Before we get there, what was operations like at DNP before you had any of these tools?
All right. Before we had many records on paper and Excel spreadsheets, and then the TLs, the team leaders plus the operator got a lot of data from paper, and then we also didn't have any visibility on like any timeline or real data time, and also we got more like many maintenance issues, like the total the total history of what was happening in the plant in the shift, just on the end of the shift. And like this was we didn't have too much visibility about our downtimes during the shift in real time. And also we didn't know about like our OE in real time, plus historical OE and that MachineMetrics and MaintainX provide.
Makes sense. And I think for many of us who are here, right, there's sort of like a moment, like almost like an aha moment, right, or a trigger that happens when we say, okay, we've decided that we're going to make a change. Mauro, was it like death by 1,000 paper cuts, and then we're just fed up? Was there a certain moment where we said, hey, we're gonna transform how we do this today for you guys?
Yes, as I told, like we didn't have like the visibility to for the engineering team plus the management to take decisions like and understand when the machine was really stopping, or like if that PM took like too long or not. Then we say where we will start. We don't have data to understand our current situation. Then I think this was our first yes, we need to move to to some place like to understand better what's going on with our facility.
Makes sense. Kyle, I know that as a next step here, I think our plan is to walk the rest of the team through what that implementation journey looked like. And so I'm kicking it over to my co-host Kyle.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what's really unique about this is there's really two systems being implemented. So there's a timeline with milestones that need to be met. There's many stakeholders involved, but from a high level, Mauro, just take me through, how did you practically go about implementing, these two systems?
All right. We first we were evaluating some tools, like some different tools on the market, plus our connectivity with the machine that we have on the floor. Like this is very important. Like this needs to be a good and an easy connection. Then like the whole team, the vice president of operations plus the engineering team and the support of production. We were like testing and like getting feedbacks of what we really need. This is how we start, and then we came with MachineMetrics solution on the beginning. Then for maintenance side, we came with MaintainX that also will help a lot, like to understand our work orders management and plus another integrations.
Yeah, and well, Mauro, you said something interesting, right? And in the beginning, this evaluation process, and you mentioned already some of the leadership buy-in that you need to have for this. But what were some of those things, those results that you needed to see that maybe fed into that evaluation projects? You mentioned connecting your machines, right? So maybe you can just expand a little bit on how you were evaluating, let's say, machine metrics in the beginning.
Well, we evaluated like the performance of the system. Like they could deliver a good dashboard for the operators. They could deliver also like a very good like interaction between the operator and the dashboard, and also we could see the data in like in real time, and also I think it like was a easy system to navigate.
Sure. No, that makes sense, right? The proof is in the pudding. If you're able to set those up and stand those up right live on your machines, that's going to go a long way with everyone involved. So great to hear that we're seeing results quickly. And fast forward, I see 2024. We're talking about words like automation and integration. This to me implies that these two systems are now working together. What does that look like? How is that successful?
Well, this is successful because we join like both a maintenance team plus the operations team, and with the leadership also the leadership from both sides. We could like understand what one system can help with the other, and then we know like that now they have a capability. The APIs working together to bring the data, a real good data in real time, and then we did our first like API and creation between both systems. We will talk about that in a few moments. But yeah, that's how we are doing now, and we are expanding this to try to collect more data, involve maintenance in understand the data, and our future is take more a predictive maintenance.
Awesome. Thanks, Mauro. Yeah, and I know we'll get into a little bit more details on exactly what that looks like and the current state. But one thing that we emphasized was really important is that stakeholders and alignment that needed to take place. So, talk to me through some of the different groups at DNP that needed to be on board, and maybe more specifically, what were some of the challenges or things that we should keep in mind when we're aligning all these groups?
All right. Here is the team that was involved with this uh, installation since the beginning. Operators, engineering team, that's myself plus another people from engineering team. Maintenance, that's very important. Production, I would say that's supervisors and team leaders. This is very important because they need to understand what's their side, how the system will improve for their side, and this is one of our first challenge, because the operator needs to buy the idea that this system will help they to solve some issues, to understand how their machine is performing, how was the previous shift. This will be more visibility for the operator. I think this was one of the challenges was pass this for the operators and the leadership, the shop for leadership. But we got good in that, and also the IT side. We got many challenges on IT connectivity, because it was a new connection for our IT side. We have many OPC UA challenges and some issues that we went through, and then we were able to solve with everybody together. But yeah, everybody needs to be involved on this implementation.
Yeah, thanks, Mauro. That's a lot of individuals to make happy and make sure we're making their day to day easier. So really glad that came together for you. I think next, Graham, we're really interested in how how do we actually put this in practice? What were some of the workflows involved? So I'll pass the mic back to you. Oop, we might have a little audio issue. Hopefully it's not just me,
I
Mauro.
think he's on mute. Yeah.
This is what I tell my team: is you just take and you put $1 in the mute jar. So get me on that one. So I think Kyle knows, I know, Mauro knows, hey, how we've done this. But for the audience here, right, they're wondering, hey, how does this work? So Mauro, I think what would be great is maybe you could walk us a bit through how you guys started. Obviously, we've heard you connected the machines, using MachineMetrics for MES purposes, using MaintainX, right? What's the first step in that journey for you guys when it came to actually using MachineMetrics to drive work requests in MaintainX? What does that look like for you?
Right. This is a very good example. This is the first connection that we did between MaintainX and MachineMetrics. You see here you have this is the dashboard. The operator dashboard is a part of the dashboard. And before, you had the two systems. We have MaintainX plus paper, and then it was a lot of times that the operators just type the many stuffs without any direction, and also was very hard to understand what was the machine area that was with more issues. This was very difficult on the beginning, and the solution was integrating both systems. And then with this, if you can see on the screen, the operator needs to just do 3 clicks to select the maintenance, to request a maintenance for for the maintenance team. When they have an issue on the machine, an area with issue, they needed to call maintenance. And now they just go through these 3 steps. And if they need a comment, they also can put a comment. And then on the other side, the technical support, maintenance technician, they can came with the request very quick, and also the second one was the automatic work order creation, that we are still implementing, but it was the meters, like meters was I think the most important thing that we did since the beginning, because this was a difficult API, but we got both teams work together, and then we were able to track in real time the meters of the machine. Now we will be able to understand the timing between one PM and another. Like if you have some real currency maintenance in machine, and plus we are working with a maintenance team to get some automation work order creation, and plus a visibility of what the machine is saying to us.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And for those of you who are listening in, just for color commentary, because MachineMetrics is connected to their machines, we're using OPC-UA or MT Connect or Focus or whatever the protocol is, where we capture that data, and that allows us to know exactly what's happening in that machine, whether it's conditions, whether it's how long the machine's actually been running, right? Whether it's a meter or even a threshold, or even simply like a machine alarm that says, hey, it's time to change the filter bag, right? And so these automated work order creations are the team at DNP is leveraging. So you can obviously have an operator that can participate in that, and it's a step in the right direction. But the beautiful world, right, is, hey, can we just develop those ourselves using the real data from the machines? And so that sounds like a really great way to reduce the need for operator input, but yet essentially an enhanced maintenance program using that information. So that's really cool, Mauro. Kyle, I know you had a follow-up question on this also, or maybe it was about something.
Yeah. I definitely want to just a little bit more on this, maybe too. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Mauro, but my understanding is, your team's really taking a strategic approach to how you look at this machine data, this meter data, and in this example, in particular, what we're doing is taking what used to be on a calendar-based schedule, right, for some form of PM, that is, and we're going to do it actually based on usage, right? I think in this case, or in one of the examples you had told me that you're doing it, that we're going to trigger this PM every 10,000 hours. And so, just kind of talk to me through how you're setting those up, and kind of what's in the future for these automations.
Okay. Right now we are in the step that we are really understand the data. I think the most difficult time was connecting the machine, but now we are analyzing the data together with maintenance team. And then we for example, we do a PM in one day, and then another day we'll do another PM. How is the bearing is, or some part of the machine it looks like between different machines. Then we'll get a range, and and understand when will be the better data, put a trigger. Then we really needs to automate a work order. Then everybody can go to the machine and check, hey, this is a real thing happen. But yeah, we are in analyzing the data and getting some reports from MaintainX, and checking when will be good time to get these automatically work orders. Plus we are able to analyze everything that we want from the machine now.
Yeah, and speaking of reports, I know you guys have done a lot with your OEE improvements and MachineMetrics, but maybe you can walk us through a specific moment when that data actually changed the outcome there at your facility.
Yes, this is an OE report. This really changing how we drive data. You can see this data anytime. Anybody that's involved with the production can go through MachineMetrics and get this data also. So we are able to, and this is one thing that we didn't have before, but now we have a weekly meeting that we can track our OE, plus our downtimes and machine issues. That's a very important thing that we are doing now, and trying to the data more good reason to solve the issues of the machines.
and correct me if I'm wrong, I think you're extracting some of the categories, the downtime reasons that you're experiencing. Maybe you can speak to a little bit about what's been uncovered with that increased visibility on these downtime reasons.
Yes, this is very important. Like right now, we have during the shift, we have the real time downtimes from each machine, and also we have a TV that shows like a dashboard, MachineMetrics dashboard for all leadership can look how we are doing during the shift. Plus, we are able to get the right categorization, and also when we have a machine that is stopped, we do a categorization that's stopping like faster than before, and then we can like act before the end of the shift. Plus we have these meetings that we can like understand more like what's downtime for each machine and what we need to really take an action, or some lesson learning for another machine that's doing good.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Mauro. A little bit more impactful than a whiteboard and some blank space with some notes scribbled in there.
Awesome. I love it. Okay. And great job, by the way, with your downtime. Like you guys are awesome. So I know like we're sort of going into like talking like a little bit about, what we've learned, right. From all this. And, I think we know that initiatives like this aren't always perfect, we want them to be. For you, Mauro, what's a key learning maybe that you could share with the audience that they could, take home with them from this webinar?
All right, yeah. I think well, I have two lessons learned, but the first one is the IT. Like you need to, when you start a project like that, you need to have your IT team with with your team, like everybody in the same page. Everybody like needs to understand the project, the current state, the challenge. This is very important. Like you need to get your IT, or if you don't have IT but your technical support that will work with the connections, because this is the filter. If you need something, everybody knows what happened. The other thing is engaging your production team and the operators, team leaders, plus supervisors who is in charge with the production needs to get this idea, and you need to understand and listen these people. Why? Because they will get like a good feedback for you. How is the production really is on day by day, and then you can like, hey, sometimes I have some issue that I can implement it before then in the future, and then you save a lot of time with that.
That's fantastic. And by the way, we do have some questions coming in in the chat. So obviously, we're going to make sure that we're registering those. And when we get to the Q&A, Neil and Garrett, we're going to get on those ASAP. So stay tuned.
Yes, and then I have a question actually for you, Graham. With MachineMetrics, you look across some of the manufacturers that you've worked with. I hear a lot, hey, we need an MES. We don't have one. Should we build one? We're looking for providers. How, or what are some of the key steps you would take away before implementing MES? How do you know that the customer is ready for that?
Yeah, well, I want to address the first thing you said, if you're cool with that, before I dive into
Absolutely,
that.
yeah.
You're right. It's like you could build anything, right? It's like I could have sewn the shirt I'm wearing today, right? And you could have probably built the car that you drive, right? But should you? No, right? Certainly not, right? I think in the modern world, right, what we've learned is that you don't have to rebuild things from scratch anymore. But that also doesn't mean that everything comes exactly the way you want it. And so the perfect path, I think, for solutions, and probably the premise behind the MaintainXs and the MachineMetrics of the world is you can buy essentially a solution that solves 80% of your problems, and then you can configure it to help you fit the rest of the 20%, right? And that gets you where you need to go far faster, right? Than starting from scratch, right? And then the time and effort and resources that we then put in right, to making a solution that candidly will never, be as good as something that MaintainX or MachineMetrics have done in the first place, right? You can put into, changing your own business and your own operations, right? So that strong opinions on that. I feel pretty confident the people at MaintainX would align with that, but I don't speak for them. I only speak for myself. When it comes to implementing MES or really just systems in general, I think that, we've worked with hundreds of manufacturers, and, the companies that we have seen do it best seem to have three commonalities before they get it done. The first is IT, right? Establishing the IT foundation, right? And for any IoT enabled MES, right? The letters IT are right there, right? In IoT, right? So there's no IoT without IT. And so making sure that you have reliable connectivity, making sure that you have the network infrastructure to support any project like this, right? The future of all MES is driven by real-time data, right? And so making sure that you're establishing that true connectivity on the factory floor that's reliable, right? Is hypercritical. The second that I've seen is auditing and standardizing your production flows, right? And it's like, if you want to digitize how your operators and your frontline workers are going to interact with the system, right? That's MES, right? It's all about executing work, right? And so the operators, they're 10 to 1, right? Individuals in the factory floor when it comes to any other position, right? So how do they engage with work orders? How do they track downtime? How do they do quality and inspection processes, right? Just knowing what we do today helps us understand, right, what we're going to digitize and how we can do it better, right? And MES doesn't fix broken processes, right? It'll just make those broken processes worse, right? Just digitally, right? So if you have a setup process that's all over the place, right? Um, you know, codifying that is just going to be like a system that's just going to be digital madness, right? So I think the goal really is to audit and understand where those bottleneck and process problems are, make sure that it's standard, and then deploy a system that can help you follow those standard SOPs and processes. One of the really cool things that MachineMetrics did over the last year is we actually developed what we call our K Hub. And so now you can upload all of your standard SOPs and processes in the MachineMetrics, and then we can use that in our AI system to guide operators on their event-driven tasks. Hey, I'm about to start a job. Hey, I'm about to do maintenance, right? Hey, I'm about to start in process inspection, and then we can provide them with that documented process. If there isn't a process, hard to provide them documents, right? So, but I think these are always the gaps, I think, that lead to value attainment, right? When it comes to data, is like, how do you actually implement change? They call it like action first AI. And it's like a really different way to execute work than your like old school MES systems. I think the third one is alignment, right? And many of you, maybe your leadership here, in which case, hi, but many of you are also frontline workers, right? And you might be, hey, I want this stuff and I want it. I want to implement in our factories, right? And the thing is, right, technology in and of itself, right, is it's not like a silver bullet, right? MES systems, they can do tons of things: track work orders, optimize schedules, improve OEE, reduce downtime, quality, right? But um, but making sure that you're aligned both on business objectives and success metrics ensure that both like leadership and the factory floor know when you've reached success, right? This is really, really, really important. Without clear objectives and outcomes, and I was just talking to a customer about this right before I came on. It's like, you're implementing system, right? You're 6 months in, and someone's like, "So what have we gotten from this?" And you're like, "Well, we've completely changed how we do maintenance." And they're like, "And?" like what was the number? Like what did we get, right? And so making sure that you've really nailed those KPIs so at the beginning, so we can say, all right, this is what we're looking for. And then when we roll it out, right, in our pilot stage or our first 6 months, we can say, yes, we hit that goal, right? And that is like something that's in the past was not super present, I think, in IoT and even architectural projects in the past, because they took so long to get up and running. They sort of forgot about where the value actually was, right? So making sure that you've got clear-cut value, and then everybody on the team is aligned that this is useful if we can reach those targets. It's the best way to justify software, and expanding use cases from there becomes much clearer when you've got proof points and momentum behind you.
Very insightful, Graham. You said a lot of things that, and I'll just kind of repeat the things that really stuck out with me. Right, MES is not a silver bullet, but you really kind of ended with, we need to be able to prove out that value. We need to be able to see it and measure it. And to do that, we're going to start off with understanding where are those true pain points, where are those bottlenecks. Once you kind of fill in those building blocks, I feel like you can be off to a really great start. So, yeah, thank you, Graham.
Totally. Yeah, couldn't agree anymore, Kyle. So, yeah. Okay. So I think we're sort of at we've reached sort of, Mauro, you've told us what you've done, right? You've told us, some of the value you've achieved, but I'm getting to know you pretty well. You're not just stopping here. Sounds like you've got a roadmap for the future, right? You're going to keep digitizing. You're going to keep transforming. What's next for you?
All right. I believe the next, because we have both sides, MaintainX and plus MachineMetrics. For MachineMetrics, we will continue, getting these good data and try to, get more decision and improve how we watch the data. Plus, we will install in more machines and then expand for another facilities. This is our, our first machines that we are doing, like first area that we are doing. But there is many other, areas that can be used here on the plant. Many other different machines, the same for MaintainX. We plan to integrate it like everything together, and also our current stage is machine analysis with MaintainX, getting the data from the machine and understanding how that can really help daily and to save time on PMs, plus check what's going on. The future will be like the transition for predictive maintenance, and combining it with the automatic work orders, plus alarms, categorization, auto categorization downtimes, and another facility, like we can expand this a lot.
That's exciting. We definitely see you guys achieving a lot in your early stages, and I think that you're doing a great job driving continued digital transformation. And it seems like a logical step for you guys to go where you're going now. And at minimum, we look forward to continued reporting on your success as you move forward with your journey, Mauro. So we're super grateful. Kyle, any follow-up questions for Mauro?
Oh, that was fantastic. I think we might poke on you some more with some of these Q&A questions from our live audience, but this has been really great so far. I'd love to transition to some of these questions we've been getting throughout our time here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and read some of these. All right. Awesome. Yeah. Let's see. I'm a MaintainX user, so I understand how that works, but I'm not a MachineMetrics user. Can you explain how MachineMetrics integrates with MaintainX? Does this save me from having to produce a custom API? Graham, I'm gonna tap on you for this one.
Yeah, no problem. Yes, no custom like integrations are required here. Essentially, you've got an API key for your MaintainX, right? You've got your credentials for your MachineMetrics if you're a MachineMetrics user. The short is you drop in your secret key within MachineMetrics, right? And you enter your credentials, and boom, right? The two systems are connected with a couple clicks, right? Then the short of it is we map assets between the two platforms, right? Making sure that the names, right, that you use within MachineMetrics line up with the names that you're using for your assets in MaintainX. And then once you've set that up, it's just all about building your workflows. Within MachineMetrics, we have a workflow builder. So you can essentially, from a drop down, you can choose, operator trigger, alarm, threshold, where you can drag and drop or adjust durations, frequencies, or severities. And then boom, right? You can actually, there's two choices. You can either work on essentially a work, you can generate a work request, or you can actually deliver a work order automatically. And that's an option that's really tailored to the user. Once you test it out, right, verify that it works, and then you scale up from there. So it's really quick, it's really easy, it's in product, it's simple to do. And I would just note that, obviously, like, for those of you that don't know as much about MachineMetrics, we are like an MES that is more focused in discrete manufacturing operations. But we do have customers that use our IoT platform to connect to environmental assets and things like that too. So what's unique about our software is how easy we've made connecting to things like PLCs and CNCs. That's like our true bread and butter. But the fact that we can do that and map those data items automatically and very quickly means that you can essentially leverage those same use cases for virtually any asset, whether it's, a manufacturing piece of equipment or even, an HVAC, right, within that same site.
Wonderful. Yeah, thanks, Graham. We do have another question here. This is a really good one. With AI predictive maintenance, with AI predictive maintenance may be much more powerful. What goes into setting up a predictive maintenance solution? Ooh, this is a very good question. I'll start with some key things that come to mind when I think of the word predictive maintenance as a whole. I think the one thing that I really emphasize when I do have conversations around predictive maintenance is that it's a journey, right? It's a journey to get to predictive maintenance, and there's some fundamental building blocks that we need to make sure that we have underneath this so that we are successful, right? But I think what MachineMetrics does and MaintainX does kind of really brings it together. I think for starters, you need high quality data from your equipment that we can use to either create models or look at the data to understand, what might this be indicating about the health of that machine or even that process. I think when you pile on the context that you will get from working inside MaintainX and the insights that we have from actually turning those wrenches, providing that feedback so we understand how the machine has been treated, those are some things that I think go into predictive maintenance. But you need standardized data, you need to have it clean, and you need to have it accessible first, right? Once you have that, you can start building on those layers to get to really that end all predictive maintenance state that so many of our customers are striving for. Uh, Graham, I'd be curious if there's anything you had wanted to add there, or maybe tomorrow. It's a really great question.
Got lots of hot takes on this one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I think this is, I'll take a step at this and you can sort of like tell me your thoughts. I think the thing is, guys, like this is a definitions problem, right? And so I always like to make sure that we define things the same, right? And so what, in my experience, right, what I have seen is that there tends to be a conflation between the term condition-based maintenance and predictive maintenance, right? And so generally, right, understanding what meters or what thresholds or what limits typically precede a maintenance failure, um, you could argue it is a prediction, right? It's like when the weather, right, goes below 32 degrees, things start freezing, right? We predict the weather is going below 32, so we know things are going to freeze, right? Is that a prediction, or really is that just a condition-based threshold, right? And so I think that there is a clear delineation between what is like the value that can be achieved. And in my experience, generally, the vast majority of maintenance problems tend to land in the condition-based maintenance bucket, which is, hey, like we know, right, that when we start feeling this vibration, when we start seeing a temperature exceed a certain limit, if we run our car, 5,000 miles, right, before the next oil change, then we're most likely going to have a problem when we exceed those thresholds or limits, or when this alarm comes off the machine. And so I guess my highest suggestion to the audience, this is, again, this is my unsolicited opinion, is that, like, there is tremendous value in solving the 80% of the problem, right? Using, call it, like, condition-based or even usage-based maintenance, right? Versus maybe solving for the one-off anomalous failure that might occur that requires more data science, right? To truly predict those events are extremely difficult. They take, unique predictive models, a lot of data. Now, can they be done? Absolutely. And if the problem that happens in those predictive situations is a serious business challenge, then you're damn right that that's something that you need to work on, right? But at least in the vertical I work in generally, what I've seen is that the vast majority of maintenance can be avoided by using essentially machine data as the key triggers to driving a strong maintenance program. And that will cover the vast majority of the things that need solving.
Yeah. You brought up a good point in your response, Graham, in that we need to understand why our machines fail sometimes. So you kind of alluded to what I like to call a random failure, right?
Right.
It happens rapidly, and we really don't know why. But in efforts to set up those condition-based monitoring efforts, we need to have a firm understanding of what are those failure modes, what are the effects, in order to build, continue to build that strong
Yeah,
foundation.
exactly.
Okay, it looks like we have a couple more questions here. I am a MaintainX user, and at our company, we use iMonit sensor monitoring systems that record temperature from our sensors. Will this idea help us get access to our data on MaintainX instead of using the API? So I want to make sure I understand that fully, and am accurate in saying that that you could use MaintainX to centralize this data, from these various IoT sources, IoT sensor sources, such as iMonit. We would, support that integration through the REST API. And so I guess, that's, not sure if if I'm answering your question fully, but it would be direct access with some form of API integration. It's not going to be a standard hookup like you we're seeing explained through the MachineMetrics. But love to take that one as well as at the end of this call for whoever did ask that question. And then we do have another one here. Another check-in. Assume I am using an elevator machine. Will the MachineMetrics technology be able to detect that the belt is wearing out, or will perhaps involve the use of IoT technology integrations?
Yeah, I mean, the short answer is
Question.
the latter, right?
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, to understand, right, in an elevator, right, machine, right, the only way to know whether or not the belt is wearing out is to gain access to the data that could tell you whether or not that belt is wearing out, right? So within an elevator, many of the internal sensors are typically tied to some sort of, operating, computer, whether it's a PLC or something that drives the machine itself, right? Um, Assuming that those data items are, tied back, right, to that central PLC, right? Then those PLCs have data tags, right? And those tags represent items, right? Sensor readings. And so you can very easily use that data, right, to say, okay, is there anything that indicates, right, wear over time on that belt, right? If not, right, then it might be, you may require an additional sensor, right? MachineMetrics, we do, just for what it's worth, we support the, a vast, you know, 20,000 plus sensors can be plug and play with the software using, essentially IO link protocol technology. And so that's how we would address something like that. But obviously, it just depends on, the asset itself. So.
Okay. I think let's see here. I think we have another question here. So can you tell us about training, especially for operators? All
Yeah, I
right.
think the question more is for you. How
Yeah, please.
how'd you get using these systems?
All right. Well, when you train operators, like you need kind of they need to buy the idea that this system is good for can help it. Like they need to understand that it will be beneficial for their use. And also you need to provide that material because this is my experience. The operator probably will have questions, and you need to have a work structure material, and also this needs to be alignment with their leadership, because if they have questions, you are not there. Like the leadership also needs to be able to answer questions, and everybody needs to be in the same page. Uh, I would say like you need to start it when you prepare a training, like with the operations leadership, and then we go to the operators, and then we start training. And also what I usually do about training, I train like on the machine, really when they are using the system, because then I can navigate from the system. I can, and also I say like, hey, any questions, any support that you have, I am here. But I would say that if for a training side, you need to do more hands-on training. Like you need to really see what they are doing, then just go to a room and do a quick training. Then you make sure that you have and all other important thing is make it very simple, make it simple for the operator. If you have it 3 or 4 steps, and then you can do in just one, do that. To think about like do very simple for the operator, more simple, more easy, and the results will be better.
Well said, Mauro. Yeah, and I think something to kind of point out here is that with implementations like this, having a strong champion like yourself to make sure that these operators and their folks are seeing the value is crucial. So providing that hands-on training so that we can see the value quickly and we can hit the ground running is super important. So we do have one last question here, and it's about scaling across multiple facilities. Really, what does this look like for a multi-site rollout? Graham, you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, really similarly to MaintainX, right? Our products are designed to scale, right? And I think that's sort of why we've both been super successful, right? I mean, the goal is make it really simple, right? Simple and easy to get on board, but powerful enough so it justifies scaling it across a number of different sites. And so for MachineMetrics, as I imagine similar for MaintainX, right? We've got architectures designed for single site, multi-site, single machine reporting, right? All of this can be easily configured, right? Without requiring tons of custom code to get the visuals and tools that you want, right? And so the vast majority of customers, right, that either use MachineMetrics, if they have multiple sites, they'll either deploy to single site, or what they do is a phased approach, right? Where they sign on for the whole kit and caboodle, and then phase one, they get one site started, and sometimes they'll overlap those deployments to make sure they get where they want to go fast. But I think the true upside of tools like MaintainX, again, and MachineMetrics, is that this isn't a 10-year digital transformation project anymore, right? We've deployed dozens of sites in a single year, right? And so I think that's the upside of using tools like this. They pack the power, and they scale quickly. So look,
Yep.
Kyle, I assume that I made a lot of assumptions, but that's everything I hear.
Yeah. No,
MaintainX
you're
is
you're absolutely right. It's built for multi-site operations, whether it's standardizing procedures and rolling them out everywhere, sharing parts and inventory across locations, and maybe the most important one is displaying and tracking those KPIs in a public global place where we can, extract the context and also measure our impact. So fantastic.
awesome.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up our Q&A and everything we had to share today. So again, thank you, Mauro. Thank you, Graham. This has been great. I do want to share some things, some resources with our viewers before we do close out. So we have a handful of resources, and there should be a pop-up or a place that you can access these on your screen here. First one being MaintainX Academy, a great place with courses, place to get certifications and guides on how to use the MaintainX system, and also a way to get inspired to improve your overall maintenance strategies. We also have our community, so a great way to connect with other customers and share your best practices. And last but not least, if you are not a user of MaintainX or MachineMetrics, please be in contact with us. We are definitely happy to connect and chat with you more. Okay, well, thank you again, Mauro, for sharing your story. I know it resonated with me and hopefully everyone else listening. Thank you, Graham, for your insights as well. If there's if there's any closing remarks, love to hear them. If not, we'll go ahead and close it out.
I just want to thank everyone for having us. Thank you,
Well,
Mauro.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Mauro.
it. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye now.